Divine victory confirmed. Heaven revealed your miraculous destiny. The battle ends in 40 days. In the quaint village of St. Mary's Grove, the air crackled with an electric anticipation as the villagers gathered for an extraordinary prayer meeting at the local chapel. The flickering candles cast long shadows, illuminating faces lined with hope and worry. Mary, a devoted mother in her early 40s, stood at the front, her heart racing. Just weeks ago, she had received the devastating news that her teenage son, David, was diagnosed with a terminal illness, leaving her shattered and clinging to her faith as the sole anchor in a stormy sea. With every heartfelt prayer lifted to the heavens, a palpable energy swirled around the chapel. Whispers of divine intervention floated on the chilly evening air, igniting a fervent belief that God's mercy could perform the impossible. As the congregation joined voices, a wave of warmth enveloped Mary, igniting a flicker of hope when she unexpectedly received a prophetic word. In 40 days, your son will be healed. A wave of gasps filled the air. Eyes widened. For a moment, the weight of the world lifted, and joy swept through the faithful. But as the echoes of the prophecy faded, skepticism crept in. While some celebrated this divine promise, others clung to science, creating a rift within the community. Doubt began to stir like autumn winds rustling leaves, unraveling the hope that had seemed so solid just moments before. Days turned into restless nights for Mary. Her spirit felt entwined with the promises of the chapel, yet plagued by the visible decline in David's health. She could almost hear the murmurs of doubt from once supportive friends. Perhaps it's time for more medical interventions. Mary, they said, their voices laced with compassion yet tinged with concern. Beneath her steadfast exterior, Mary's heart began to waver. The strong presence of the Lord felt as though it were slipping through her fingers like a fateful breeze. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. In solitude, Mary often found herself at the chapel's altar, seeking clarity amidst the turmoil. Kneeling there, she recalled the stories of miraculous healings, tales that had warmed her heart as a child. It felt as if heaven had drawn near, wrapping around her like a warm embrace. In that sacred silence, she felt the pulse of her faith, vibrant and deep. Every prayer, every moment spent in worship, was a thread binding her to the promise given. As the 40th day crept closer, tension filled St. Mary's Grove. The air buzzed with anticipation. Villagers gathered in whispers, a mix of devotion and doubt. Every eye was turned toward the chapel, praying fervently yet filled with the weight of uncertainty. Then, the moment of reckoning approached, a divine clock ticking away precious seconds. Just as the chapel bell tolled for evening prayer, Mary stood before her neighbors, uncertainty creeping into her heart. It was then that a chilling revelation struck her, a sense that true victory might carry a cost she had not foreseen. As the congregation held their collective breath, the unanswered question loomed. Would God's promise manifest as a miraculous healing, or would faith be tested in ways no one anticipated? The battle for belief was far from over, and all eyes turned toward the heavens, longing for a divine response that would tip the scales between hope and despair. As the chapel bell tolled, its sound echoing like a heartbeat through the village, Mary felt a stirring deep within her spirit. She could see the villagers all around her, their faces a tapestry of expectation and anxiety. The haze of uncertainty hung thick in the air, swirling like incense from the candles flickering softly at the altar. Together, they were bound in this sacred moment, a collective heartbeat woven into one faith-filled pulse. Mary closed her eyes and sought the familiar presence of the Lord just as she had countless times before. "Lord, I believe," she murmured, clinging desperately to the promise of healing she had once embraced with boldness. But shadows of doubt teased her heart, whispering lies that made her question if she was worthy of such a miraculous asceti. In the silence that followed reverent prayers, David's laughter echoed in her mind. The way his eyes sparkled with mischief and joy seemed like a lifetime ago, something to grasp tightly as the clock continued its unforgiving march. She opened her eyes. "Let us pray for David," a voice called out from the back. It was Anna, a gentle soul with faith like a child. The tension broke slightly as murmurs of agreement spread through the congregation, igniting a fresh wave of hope. With soft voices rising like the aroma of baked bread, the villagers began to call David's name, lifting it to the heavens. "David, we declare your healing. In Jesus' name, be whole," they cried, their unity like a divine chorus. Mary felt the warm presence of God sweep through the chapel. It was as if the thick air began to shimmer, promising something extraordinary. She could feel her pulse quicken as she looked around, taking in the support of her community, their belief igniting a spark within her own flickering flame of faith. But as the prayers crescendoed, a weighty thought loomed quietly at the back of her mind. What if victory was not merely David's healing? What if true victory could be something beyond what she wished for? The mysteries of God often danced just out of sight, reframing perceptions in impossible ways. In that moment of contemplation, she thought of the prophets of old who had walked the earth, enduring struggles that led them deeper into purpose. With every trial, a story unfolded. With every wound, a healing began. This could be about more than a physical healing. Could it be that an emotional or spiritual restoration awaited David and her through this trial? Mary took a deep breath, trying to settle her racing heart. "Father," she whispered, opening herself to his will, "whatever you have planned, let it be done. I surrender." The act of giving her fears to God felt like casting off chains, releasing her from the heaviness that had threatened to sink her spirit. She could feel a kind of serenity washing over her, igniting an ember of faith anew. Deep in the recesses of her heart, she knew she would go wherever this journey led, embracing each moment with grace. As the prayers deepened, she smiled faintly at the thought that perhaps God had yet to reveal the great miracle before them. Outside, the sun began to set, casting soft hues of orange and pink over the village. Onlookers gathered close, waiting for answers, their hearts open. What would the dawn bring? What revelations and transformations awaited them in the light? The question lingered in the air, charged with hope. What did God have planned for them in this divine narrative they were living? The 40th day was here. Would the power of faith touch David's life in ways they had not prepared for? The answer remained shrouded in the beauty of divine mystery, ready to unfold in ways that no one could foresee. As the sun dipped lower on the horizon, casting ethereal rays across the chapel's stone walls, an overwhelming hush fell over the gathering. The weight of anticipation hung in the air, as palpable as the fragrant offerings at the altar. It was a moment suspended in time, teeming with hope and whispers of what was to come. In the heart of the congregation, Mary felt like she was standing on the edge of a precipice, peering into an abyss of possibility. As Anna's voice faded into a stillness, she suddenly sensed a shift, a deep stirring as if the very atmosphere was poised to break open. She could almost feel the angels dancing above them, their wings brushing lightly against her spirit. "Lord, let the skies open," Mary breathed, her heart beating in rhythm with the pulse of the crowd. She wanted to believe that their collective prayers could break every barrier, shatter doubt, and usher in a wave of miracles. Just then, the chapel door creaked open. A gasp escaped from the villagers as they turned. There, framed by the twilight glow, stood David. He was leaning against the door frame, a warm smile spreading across his face, breaking through the shadows of their fears. His presence alone was enough to ignite the flame of faith, casting aside any lingering doubt. "David!" Anna cried, her voice choked with emotion. The villagers erupted into a chorus of cries and shouts, their hearts lifting in unified joy. They rushed toward him, embracing him with thrumming excitement and disbelief. Was he truly here? Was he healed? Mary stepped forward, her heart soaring and yet trembling. She searched his face, seeking the truth in his eyes. At that moment, All the uncertainty faded like morning mist under the rising sun. "I woke up," David said with a smile that lit up the room. "I woke up and felt different. I felt light." His voice was steady, filled with a newfound strength that made tears pool in Mary's eyes. "Praise you, Jesus," came a loud shout from the back of the chapel, prompting others to join in a crescendo of worship. Mary stood still, overwhelmed, feeling the warmth of community wrap around her. She looked up, praying in gratitude for this unexpected gift. But as the celebration unfolded, a subtle thought flickered in the recesses of her soul. David's physical return was a phenomenal act of grace. Yet what about the spiritual restorations yet to be revealed? Their journey had already transformed them all. As the villagers sang, Mary observed the faces filled with both elation and reflection. Each one bore their own burdens, and she knew their individual battles had woven a deeper connection among them. What if God had not only healed David's body but was also cultivating a deeper unity among them? A collective faith that would ripple through the village like a sacred tide. In that moment, she closed her eyes and lifted her heart, feeling thankful not just for David but for every soul in that chapel. "Show us, Lord, what do you desire for us from this?" she prayed, her voice barely above a whisper. Just then, an odd wind rustled the air, bringing with it a sweet fragrance that she could not identify. The altar candles flickered, their flames dancing wildly. For a heartbeat, time stood still. "Something is coming," Mary thought as she opened her eyes wide. All eyes shifted toward the altar, where the flickering blue light began to glow brighter, pulsing as if it was alive. What was happening? The tension was palpable. Were the heavens aligning for another revelation? A deeper miracle yet to unfold? And with this divine mystery poised on the brink of revelation, the villagers watched with bated breath, filled with both awe and anticipation, as they awaited the next chapter of their shared story. The ethereal glow at the altar deepened, pulsing in tandem with the fervor of the crowd. Mary's heart raced with every flicker, her spirit drawn to the sacred light as if it were a magnet. What could it mean? She pondered, her eyes wide with wonder as whispers raced through the congregation. David stepped forward, almost as if instinctively drawn to the brilliance. His frame emanated a newfound courage, as though he had been touched by the very hand of God. Staring into the shimmering radiance, he lifted a hand, his voice rising above the whispers. "Brothers and sisters, this is not just for me, it is for all of us. God is showing us something profound." He was no longer the man who had lain in darkness. Now he stood like a beacon, illuminating the path for the weary hearts around him. The crowd responded, voices rising in harmonious songs, echoing their collective faith and hope. The walls of the chapel reverberated with praises, each note infused with a longing for divine encounters, each word a prayer weaving through the air like an old prayer cloth being lifted by the wind. Suddenly, as if synchronized with their worship, the light from the altar blazed brighter. A soft, melodic sound accompanied it, a sound that wasn't just heard, but deeply felt. It wrapped around the villagers, saturating them with an inexplicable peace and warmth that enveloped their hearts. Mary felt it too. "What are you communicating to us, Lord?" she whispered, her spirit stirred, as if something was about to break forth. Her eyes were fixed on that otherworldly light, and she could sense its message was indeed for the community at hand. And in that moment of reverent awe, Anna shouted, "Look, the light is taking shape." Indeed, the brilliant glow began to coalesce into a figure, ethereal yet distinct. Mary's breath caught in her throat. Was this an angel? A heavenly messenger? The villagers held their breath, each heartbeat synchronized with the divine revelation unfolding before them as the luminous figure softened. Its voice emerged like a gentle breeze, yet it resonated within their souls as thunderous truth. "Fear not, you have been chosen for such a time as this. The trials that you have endured are but a shadow compared to the glory that is about to be revealed among you." A hush fell over the chapel once again, but this time it was a hush of reverence, a quietness where all understood the weight of the words spoken. Mary's heart swelled, filling her with hope. 40 days, the voice continued, echoing in their midst. You will see the heavens open and the miracles unfold. Your unity in faith will be the key to unlock divine victories. Do not waver, nor lose sight. Your journey has just begun. With those words, the ethereal figure dissolved into shimmering particles of light, dancing around the altar before disappearing altogether. But the energy remained, a palpable aura that sparked within the hearts of everyone present. Mary felt her spirit ignite. This is what we prayed for, she realized. The call to arms stirred in her chest, overwhelming her with passionate resolve. Just then, David turned to the congregation, his eyes as bright as the stars. We are not alone. Heaven is with us. We must stand united and prepare our hearts. For God has brought us together for a purpose profound. The villagers felt a surge of unity wash over them. As they began to pray and share words of encouragement with one another, Mary couldn't help but think of all the mysteries still unfolding. What kind of battles lay ahead in those 40 days? What kind of miracles awaited them, hidden just beyond the horizon? As anticipation hung in the air like the fragrance of fresh blooms, she silently prayed once more, Lord, show us the way. We are here, ready and waiting. And with that, the promise of divine victory shimmered just beyond their grasp, beckoning them into the next chapter of their incredible journey. David's words lingered in the air like incense rising toward the heavens. The atmosphere thickened with expectancy, as though the very fabric of reality had shifted to accommodate this newfound divine purpose. The villagers looked at one another, their faces aglow with hope and determination. They were ready. They were resilient. Mary joined hands with Anna and Samuel, whose voices trembled with the excitement of meaning. What's our first step? She asked, her heart racing as her mind raced along with it. David stepped forward again, empowered and resolute. We must prepare ourselves. The 40 days ahead will be filled with trials, but also miracles. His voice enveloped them, drawing their spirits closer together. Let us gather every day at this altar. We will pray, seek guidance, and remain in unity. The fondness of community washed over them. As one, they agreed to meet, sharing plans and visions. They would fast together, meditate on the word, and seek God's face with earnest hearts. Mary could sense the urgency stirring among them. Struggles would rise, but she felt assured that they were not alone. The divine beckoning pulsed within them all as the sun dipped low, casting an orange hue over the chapel. They shared one last prayer. Each voice rose like smoke to the sky, intertwining with their hopes. God, we commit these 40 days to you. Prepare our hearts. Equip us for the journey. After days of prayer, night began to settle. But where there was darkness, light began to shine. Mary trekked home through the village, her heart a garden of expectation. She passed familiar homes, each window lit with the warm glow of candles, a beautiful reminder of their shared faith. Yet as she walked, a nagging thought tugged at her heart. Would they truly unite? Would factions from the past resurface? Her heart ached at the thought. For years, division had festered. Old disputes felt like shadows lurking, waiting for the chance to creep back in. Mary sighed deeply, praying for peace and reconciliation. What could break the chain of history? Over the next few days, gatherings at the altar grew vibrant, filled with worship and laughter. Yet beneath the beautiful surface, tension sometimes flared, a sharp word here or a lingering glance there. Each time, Mary sensed a threshold within her. Unity was more than just shared worship. It was vulnerability. Then came a day when the energy within the chapel felt different. As voices blended in fervent prayer, an elderly villager, Timothy, stood up. He had weathered so many storms alongside them. His voice cracked but carried the weight of wisdom. Brothers and sisters, I have seen conflicts destroy a community. We must come together against our enemies, not each other. The chapel grew silent. Mary absorbed the gravity of his words. He continued, the Lord has shown us that to unlock these miracles, we must also forgive. Each of us carries burdens. We have rights and wrongs. Lay them down now, as we journey into these 40 days. The tension melted into something palpable, a shared sigh of relief. As if on cue, Several villagers rose and embraced one another. Tears of forgiveness flowed like rivers, washing away long-held grievances. In that moment, Mary felt the Holy Spirit move among them. She closed her eyes and listened. Could this truly be the unity necessary for miracles? Days passed, filled with prayer, fasting, and healing. Still, challenges emerged. Worries crept in like unwelcome guests. Each time they returned to the altar, each prayer and act of forgiveness peeled back layers of doubt, revealing an inner strength she never knew existed. But then, just as they began to build momentum, ominous clouds loomed over the chapel, echoing the spiritual battle to come. Mary sensed that the external struggles mirrored an internal one, a collective test of faith. In this critical moment of preparation, the question loomed heavy: what greater conflict awaited them in this divine challenge? Would their renewed unity hold, or would it fray when faced with the storms of doubt and fear? Mary's heart raced at the thought. As prayer rose like fragrant incense, the altar glowed softly, a subtle reminder that they were never truly alone. What lay ahead would demand everything they had. The next chapter awaited. The days rolled on, each one a delicate thread woven into the tapestry of their shared journey. The dark clouds hanging over the chapel became an unwelcome but familiar sight. Mary could feel the weight of the atmosphere pressing down on her heart. It was as if the heavens themselves were holding their breath, waiting for what would come next. Yet within the walls of the chapel, the spirit was alive. Each morning, the villagers filled the altar, their voices mingling in earnest prayer, their hearts converging in a singular purpose. They sang songs of faith, raising melodies that floated like sparrows toward the brightening sky. Mary never missed a moment to join in, feeling rejuvenated by the unity of their mission. One particular evening, as twilight fell in a wash of purples and blues, a stirring occurred among them. As Mary kneeled, her eyes closed in fervent prayer, she suddenly felt an undeniable urge to speak. Mustering her courage, she stood, an electric charge weaving through her. "Friends," she began, her voice trembling, yet strong, "we've been seeking healing and miracles. But what if our greatest miracle is the very unity we've begun to discover?" She glanced around, meeting the eyes of her brothers and sisters, who leaned in with eager hearts. "Let us not be of divided minds. We are called to fight for each other, to stand side by side like a mighty army. When we declare our oneness, the darkness can do nothing but flee." Each word seemed to thrum within the chapel, echoing on the walls until it resonated through every soul present. The atmosphere shifted, thick with a holy anticipation. A voice suddenly rose from the back, the deep timbre of Eli, a man whose struggles were evident to all. "I have felt chains upon my heart for far too long, but in this gathering, I feel them breaking." His declaration sent a ripple of affirmation through the crowd. Heads nodded, and murmurings of agreement swirled like eddies in a stream as Mary watched. A spirit of boldness engulfed her. "Let us proclaim our faith out loud, for every doubt that has held us captive must be released. We are here to declare victory over every fear and every conflict. We will not cower." She gripped the wooden altar, her fingers digging into its grain, willing strength into the moment. One by one, the villagers began to rise, their spirits lifted by the commitment to change. Each voice joined in, a beautiful cacophony of hope and defiance against the encroaching shadows. Prayers echoed, rising higher, a living testament to their shared belief that miracles were near. Mary felt the weight lift, a peace descending like soft rain. They held hands and made a circle, an unbroken ring of support, every face radiating the same determination. "Together, we will face whatever comes," Anna declared, her eyes shining bright. The flurry of unity opened a gateway of love and strength. But as night deepened, moments of doubt crept back in. Rumblings of uncertainty circled like clouds gathering strength. What would the coming battles look like? Mary wondered if their declarations would be enough when tested. Each passing day brought new challenges. Some were external, such as whispers from those who rejected their purpose, while others were internal, like old grudges resurfacing. Every time the altar was a refuge, bringing them back to why they had come. Yet pride could threaten their renewed spirit. Moments of tension would arise, silencing voices that desired to speak. But in those moments, Mary could feel a prompt within her, a divine nudge to guide them back to love as they braced for what lay ahead. Mary's heart pounded with a mix of fear and fierce hope. The echoes of warfare were here, but what was the outcome? Would unity last in the face of trials? What happened as we stood together in faith? Would it transform the very fabric of our community or fracture under pressure? The question hung in the air, promising either a miraculous victory or a painful defeat, setting the stage for the divine clash ahead. As the weeks passed, the regular rhythm of devotion remained, but an undeniable tension lingered like a palpable fog. Each morning, the villagers gathered, voices raised in praise. There was a steadfastness in their resolve, yet an undercurrent of fear threatened to seep into their shared faith. Whispers of doubt seemed to grow louder, reverberating through the shadows of their hearts. Mary felt it too, a worry that gnawed at her spirit, urging her to seek deeper. One fateful evening, a gripping stillness settled over the chapel. An expectant silence enveloped the congregation as Mary stepped forward once again. The familiar worn wood of the altar felt solid beneath her hands. She inhaled deeply, calling upon the strength of her community. Right now, we must acknowledge the testing that lies ahead. This will not be easy, she warned, her voice steady. But we are not alone. We have each other. A soft murmur of agreement rippled through the assembly. Faces glimmered with understanding, hearts nodding in solidarity. They knew battles weren't fought only in the realm of the visible, but in the depths of the soul. Let us remember who we are. Mary continued, her words rich with urgency. We are warriors of light. Though storms may shake us, we are anchored in faith. We carry a fire that cannot be extinguished. This last declaration ignited fresh passion among the villagers. They lifted their hands, embodying the fervent energy that coursed through the space like electricity. In that moment, old grievances were shattered like glass. The weight of past hurts was released, allowing the radiant glow of forgiveness to fill the gaps. They began to share their burdens, tales of struggle and triumph melding into an intimate tapestry of shared experience. Eli, his voice trembling from emotion, recounted his path to healing, a story punctuated with pain, yet illuminated by the grace he had found among his friends. Around him, soft tears glistened as others shared their own. In this very circle, I find my courage, one village elder said, his voice breaking, and when I stand before the storm, I will remember that we stand together. But just as hope ascended, doubt loomed ominously on the horizon. The days grew darker, with storms brewing both internally and externally. Voices of derision came from some neighbors who felt lost and forgotten, intent on sowing seeds of discord. This was the enemy's handiwork, unseen yet powerful, creeping into hearts to fracture the fragile unity they had fought to build. What do we do now? Someone asked, weary of conflict. Mary felt the weight of their burdens, and yet, deep within her spirit, there emerged a flicker of divine inspiration. We tighten our circle, Mary declared, her excitement rising. How shall we overcome? By prayer, by purpose, and above all, by unity. We will not let fear dictate our resolve. Every challenge shall be met with faith fierce enough to shatter chains. The villagers looked upon one another, a renewed light peppering their expressions. They began to pray, voices rising like an anthem of hope, bold declarations piercing through the night. As rays of morning light began to break over the horizon, they shared glimpses of what could be a community transformed not just by faith, but by the acts of love and connection they built together. Yet as they basked in this new light, a shadow still lingered at the edges, reminding them that trials were far from over. Will they be enough? Mary wondered, glancing around at her people. Can we truly stand firm against the storm? These thoughts lingered, flickering around the edges of their newfound unity, tantalizing, drawing near, setting the stage for what lay ahead. Would their collective faith usher in the breakthroughs they prayed for, or would they yield to the weight of the battle? The answer was still veiled in the mystery of the unfolding journey, awaiting revelation. The sun rose slowly, casting golden rays over the village, each beam a reminder of the dawn after a long night. Mary stood near the chapel's entrance, her heart swelling with hope and uncertainty. The whispers of doubt still lingered, yet they were now mingled with something more powerful, an expectation of divine intervention. That morning, as the villagers gathered, it felt different. There was a collective energy thrumming in the air, a divine echo of their devotion. Heartbeats synchronized as they joined together, an invisible thread weaving through them, binding their spirits in shared purpose. Mary began to speak, her voice carrying the weight of their fears and hopes. "Good morning, beloved family. Today, we choose to declare victory over our struggles," she proclaimed, her eyes dancing with fervor. "We will not let fear creep in. We will rise like the sun, full of strength and power. The enemy may be loud, but our faith is louder." A wave of collective agreement resonated throughout the group. Eli raised his hands, tears sparkling in the light. "Together, we will confront every challenge. Let our hearts be strengthened." The villagers echoed his sentiment, their voices rising together, creating an anthem of resilience that filled the chapel and spilled out into the world beyond. But as they praised, a chill suddenly swept through the assembly, a subtle reminder of the chaos still at hand. A familiar face appeared at the back of the crowd, a neighbor known for fostering discord. His expression twisted into mockery, his brows furrowed with contempt. "Why do you celebrate?" he sneered, a smirk curling at the corners of his mouth. "Nothing will change. You're just avoiding the truth. Look around. This is all doomed." Mary's heart pounded, but instead of retreating, she felt a fire ignite within her. "We will not be swayed. Hope is a powerful weapon," she cried out, her voice unwavering. "We stand as one. Our faith does not rest on what we see but on what we believe." The villagers turned toward the man, resolute. "We know the struggle is real, but so is our faith," someone called. The words surged like a wave, washing over the chapel and lighting the faces of those who had felt marginalized. They recognized the power of unity and prayer, the true essence of their community. Mary continued, "Let us turn our hearts to the one who is greater than our circumstances. In our prayer, we shall find strength. In our love, we shall find healing. Let us not waver." As they prayed, a tangible presence filled the space, like a warm embrace wrapping around each villager. It was not just a prayer. It was a communion, a sacred connection that transcended all doubts. Suddenly, the chapel's atmosphere shifted. A soft whisper reached Mary's ear, like a wind carrying ancient promises. "The journey will reveal the heart of my people. Hope rises in the midst of adversity. Miracles await." The villagers paused, still caught in the sacred moment. Each person felt it, a divine assurance that something greater was afoot, a transformation brewing just beneath the surface. 40 days, Mary murmured, almost lost in thought. 40 days until we witness the unfolding of his plan. Those words hung in the air, like a promise stirring the hearts of the followers. They exchanged glances, excitement mixing with uncertainty, each wondering what those days would bring. Profound wonder enveloped Mary. What trials lay ahead? What revelations awaited them? "Hold fast to hope," she urged. "For in this suspense lies the beginning of our greatest chapter yet." As the villagers lifted their prayers higher, something new began to ripple through their spirits, a sense of divine anticipation. It was clear. They were stepping into a journey unlike any other, and perhaps, just perhaps, their struggles were but the prelude to something miraculous. What mighty transformations would emerge from this testing? Would the faith they had fortified together withstand the coming trials? The questions hung over the villagers, each heartbeat a ticking clock toward the revelations fast approaching. As the sun climbed higher, bathing the chapel in warmth, the villagers formed a circle, united in spirit. Mary stood at its center, her heart thrumming with both gratitude and anticipation. Today felt like a threshold, a moment before the divine reveal. She could almost taste the miracles hovering on the horizon. "Let us not forget the promise given to us," she began, her voice steady, echoing against the stone walls. "For 40 days we will seek him with our whole hearts. We will gather, we will pray, and we will believe." Each day adds strength to our spirits, fortifying us for whatever lies ahead. A murmur of agreement rippled through the assembly, encouragement interwoven among them. Faces brightened, shadows of doubt beginning to dissipate. Hannah, a woman known for her quiet strength, stepped forward. Each day is a chance to cultivate our faith. With every prayer, we shall plant seeds of hope in this soil of despair. Their voices rose in a harmonious chorus, each one echoing the hope that was brewing in their souls. It was a song of resilience, a melody rising to meet heaven above. While doubts lingered like clouds on a distant horizon, their resolve shone brighter than ever. But soon, the familiar figure from before lingered at the chapel's door, his scornful grin casting a shadow over their joy. "You think you can just pray it away?" he called out, laughter dripping from his tone. "Your faith is nothing but a distraction." Mary felt anger flare momentarily, but she quickly replaced it with compassion. Bringing her hands to her heart, she replied softly, "There is power in belief. Our faith is not a distraction. It is our light." The villagers not only repeated her words but deepened their resolve, now turning to face their detractor fully. "We have seen the light in the darkness. We know the truth," Eli shouted. "You might mock us now, but we will stand firm." "Your laughter will not deter us," chimed in another villager. "We are not just voices. We are a movement fueled by faith." The man, momentarily taken aback, shifted on his feet. For the first time, uncertainty flickered across his features. Behind him, clouds rolled in, and a breeze ruffled through the trees, mirroring the tension in the air. The gathering shifted its focus back to the warmth of community, the pressing presence of hope overshadowing the chill of doubt. Feeling the weight of love and unity enveloping her, Mary said, "Let us pray together. Let every word we speak be a testament to our hope. May our cries carry over mountains and valleys, into the very heart of the one who hears us." With heads bowed and hearts open, they prayed. The atmosphere thickened with anticipation, each word spoken lifting them higher. The warmth radiated from their hearts, an embodiment of the promises made to them. Tears flowed freely as hearts poured out their longings, sorrows transformed into offerings of praise. Mary could feel the divine presence moving through them. It was a symphony of faith, a chorus reminding them that they were seen, known, and loved. Suddenly, a flicker of light broke through the clouds outside, casting radiant beams across the chapel like the dawn breaking again. Gasps followed as villagers lifted their heads, marveling at the sign. Was it a symbol of the approaching transformation? A reminder to hold fast to their beliefs during the testing? "What does this mean?" one voice whispered, and an electric energy pulsed through the group. Mary's heart raced. "It is a promise," she breathed, filled with renewed determination. "A reminder that when we seek him, he answers. Miracles are coming, my friends. Let us be ready to witness his glory." The congregation erupted in prayers of gratitude and expectation. Hope had taken root among them, now flourishing into something wondrous. What divine signs might still emerge in the coming days? What challenges awaited them, and would their united faith be enough? As they remained in the warmth of prayer and hope, each villager carried within them a flicker of revelation, igniting a fire of belief that deeply connected their destinies. There was so much more to be written in these 40 days, and it was only the beginning. What awaited them beyond this moment? Would they truly witness the unfolding of his plan in its entirety? The questions echoed in the sacred space, promising the adventure was far from over. As dawn broke on the 40th day, Mary's heart raced with a mix of excitement and trepidation. She stood at the chapel's entrance, the warm glow of the rising sun illuminating her face. It felt like the heavens were alive with expectancy, an electric atmosphere filled with the weight of hope, promise, and the culmination of their shared journey. Inside the chapel, the faithful gathered, each heart echoing the same anticipation. Mary looked around at their faces, now brightly transformed by faith, a tapestry woven together through the trials they had endured. This was the moment they had long awaited. Together, they had faced doubts, fears, and the enemy's whispers. Yet here they stood, united and resolute. "Today is the day," Mary declared, her voice steady but filled with reverence. "We have held on to every promise, every prayer. Let us open our hearts to receive whatever God has for us." The congregation responded with a resounding amen, a chorus of belief intertwining with the soft rustle of leaves outside. With each passing second, they felt a stirring in the air. Lights flickered in rhythm with their hearts pulsating like a divine heartbeat. Mary felt the atmosphere thickening around them, an undeniable presence igniting the chapel as if heaven itself were leaning down to kiss the earth. She closed her eyes and breathed deeply, sensing the extraordinary about to unfold. "Let us pray." Anna's voice broke through, grounding them together. Hands clasped and heads bowed, they poured out their supplications, declarations of healing, unity, and awakening. "Lord, let your will be done," echoed Mary's heart. Suddenly, an unexpected wind swirled through the open door, carrying with it an otherworldly fragrance that stirred their souls. In that moment, the altar began to glow, infused with a brilliant light that drew their gaze, sparkling like 1,000 stars woven into one. As they stood in awe, a figure emerged from the luminescence, a radiant angel adorned in robes of light, its face beaming with divine love and compassion. "Fear not, children of faith," the angel spoke, its voice reminiscent of water flowing over smooth stones. "Your prayers have risen like incense before the throne of grace, and today, the promises made shall be revealed." Gasps rippled through the congregation, astonished by the divine visitation standing before them. Mary's heart soared. This was their confirmation, their divine victory. "We're ready, Lord," she cried, tears spilling down her cheeks, her voice trembling with gratitude. "We believe. Miracles await those who believe," the angel continued. "Your unity has broken chains, and reconciliation shall flow like streams in the desert. Healing is upon you." The words wrapped around the villagers like a warm embrace, filling their hearts with an inexplicable peace as they stood in silence, absorbing the message of promise. A figure moved from among them, David. With newfound vigor, he stepped toward the light, his eyes wide with determination. "I know now, through this journey, that we are stronger together," he declared with a voice strong and unwavering. "God has not only healed me, he has healed us all. Today, we stand as a family, united in faith, ready to walk in the destiny laid before us." Cheers erupted, voices raised in praise and worship, each soul bursting with collective joy. Mary felt the weight of burdens lift, replaced by a profound sense of belonging. They were, indeed, woven together by love and faith. That as the angel smiled upon them, the atmosphere shifted once again. "Behold," it said, "the miracles will not just be for you, but for your entire village. The light of hope shall spread from this chapel, igniting faith in those who have faltered." With every word, Mary felt a chill run through her body, not of fear, but of awe. God was at work, blessing not just her family, but the very fabric of their community. As the angel raised its arms, the chapel glimmered, echoing the warmth of the love surrounding them. "Now go, and bear witness to the light, for as you walk in faith, miracles shall follow." And with that, the angel ascended, leaving behind a glittering cascade of shimmering light that danced like fireflies, igniting all present with a renewed passion. The villagers turned to one another, eyes sparkling with new conviction. They knew their journey was far from over. It was just beginning. Together, they stepped out into the morning light, eager to share their testimony, to spread hope, and to stand firm in unity as they embraced the destiny laid out for them. "Let us carry the light," Mary proclaimed, leading the charge into the village, hearts ablaze with the love and promises of Jehovah. In that moment, they understood. They were not just witnesses to magnificent healings, but conduits of divine purpose, transforming lives and sowing seeds of faith. The chapter of struggle had closed, but the pages of their story were still unfolding, a testament to the power of belief. And as they walked forward together, David at the helm, laughter and praise filling the air, it became clear. True divine victory was not merely about miraculous signs, it was the creation of a family bound in the love of God, ready to change their world. one heart at a time. You need to subscribe now to the channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep this message spreading. Comment your reactions and testimonies about this powerful ending. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of hope and love. Together we can change lives.